with analgesia, with something larger than ourselves, with things, with 0 equals 0, with A, with abundance, the influences, with admirable serenity, with air, with alacrity, with all, with amazement, with anguish, with animals, with any other love, with any outward interest, with any people, with any sort of, with anybody, with or thus, with arms extended, with as, with authority, with awe, with belief, with blackness, with blood, with both, with causation, with certain articles of, with certainty that, with character, with characters like these exists, with charity pure, with chloroform, with clean lips, with concrete examples, with concrete therapeutics, with confidence, with confusion, with contempt, with conversations, with cowardice, with cruel deities, with dark human passions, with death, with delirium tremens, with desire and, with determining our judgment, with devotion, with difficulty, with diminishing frequency until, with discourses upon his, with disgust, with divine protection, with dreadful pains before the, with each other, with either, with emotion, with energy, with enthusiasm, with enthusiastic assent, with envy, with equal intensity, with equanimity, with every dollar, with every known sin, with every speculative creed, with every unwholesome kind, with evil R, with excessive weakness, with experience on block, with exquisite taste, with extreme brevity, with fear, with females, with few exceptions, non-metaphysical minds, with fidelity, with fire, with flowers, with friendliness, with full explicitness, with God, with gods, with grace, with great difficulty, with great success, with greenish skin, with grief, with groanings which cannot be, with happiness within, with healthy mindedness, with heavenly music, with her diametrically opposite philosophy, with her efforts, with her thus, with him common moral notions, with him there exists, with him when, with himself, with his anxious query, with his attitude, with his calls, with his conduct, with his discontent, with his dread, with his face covered, with his father, with his foot, with his hands, with his help, with his knees drawn up against his chin, with his last, with his law, with his laws, with his maker, with his matter, with his mercy, with his mother, with his own being, with his own gladness, with his own particular religious consciousness, with his person day, with his personal comfort, with his sheer valor, with his sword, with his tongue, with human, with hypocritical, with hysteria, with imaginary experiences, with immortal love, with impatiency, with imperialistic policies, with important currents, with impunity, with inactivity, with indescribable gloom, with indignation, with indispensable human ideals, with individuals, with indolence, with injury, with intellect, with intense thirst, with irretrievably fixed classes, with it, with its accidents, with its belief in, with its concentration upon ideal, with its dynamic currents passing through, with its everlasting inner struggle, with its gospel, with its hallucinations, with its harmonies, with its manner, with its messages, with its milder interpretation, with its monotheistic bent, with its organic seat, with its own emotion, with its passion, with its priests and with its prisons, with its sentimental, with its strange power, with its temporary intellectual prepossessions, with its ups, with its usual center, with joy unspeakable, with just these people, with justice, with knives, with laughter, with leave or, with less successful man, with life in, with little faith, with love, with lunatics, with many individuals, with many persons, with masculine courage, with material, with matting, with may, with me according, with me in, with me is, with me took notice, with me which is harmonious, with memory, companions, with more cheerful subjects than those which mortal tongue, with most philosophers, with mouth, with my choked utterance, with my diversions, with my fatal thought which had exiled me thither, with my finger, with my fist till, with my gun, with my hand, with my invisible, with my leg, with my neighbors, with my own face, with my pipe, with my plans for, with my stick, with my tears, with my thought, with my weakness, with my whole heart, with my wife, with myself, with mystic gleams, with mystical experiences, with names connoting bodily, with neglect or, with neither courage nor, with nerves, with no book learning, with no determinate localization, with no discordant future, with no element, with no expense, with no faith, with no fatigue, with no hope, with no inkling, with no intimate commerce, with no lack, with no other occupation than living, with no pains taken, with no predetermined, with no religious interest whatever, with no representative faculty whatever, with no result, with no small amount, with no water, with omnipotence, with one another, with one real egg instead, with one real raisin on, with one sitting room, with one's daily duty, with one's hand, with open mouth, with opposite emotion, with ordinary, with other automatisms, with other branches, with other exalted affections, with other groups with other people, with other people's affairs, with other principles, with others which would be too tedious for, with our active, with our actual evidence, with our blunders, with our definitions, with our English, with our existential judgment, with our fixed definitions, with our individual destinies, with our instinctive springs, with our life, with our other opinions, with our own, with our personal susceptibilities, with our poverty, with our preliminaries, with our question, with our sundry souls, with ourselves, with paddle, with pain, with particulars often makes us, with passports beyond the bounds of, with with paternal theism beautifully, with pathetic futilities, with peace, with penances, with perfect legitimacy be addressed, with perfect tranquility, with phenomena which, with philosophy, with pictures, with pleasure, with popular, with praise, with precisely similar words, with private, with profound regret, with prospects, with pure absurdities, with pure loathing, with qualities over nothing, with rapture, with rays more brilliant than the sun, with readiness, with reference, with regret, with relentless, with religion, with resolute, with scars, with science, with sensation, with several friends, with shame, with shut eyes, with sin, with sleep, with so many different kinds, with so many groveling, with social ties, with solid joy, with some books, with some subordinate whom my duty compelled me, with some typical examples, with something higher, with sorrow, with sound, with spear, with such answers, with such different powers, with infinite wisdom, with such vague conjectures with supernatural, with surprise, with sympathy, with tears, with temptations, with tenderness, with terror, with the absolute, with the crisis, with the divine, with the facts, with the gold plates, with happiness, with the idea, with the kind, with the matter, with the power, with thee, with their grubbing, with monotony, with their talk, with their visions, with these.